Hi students, I want to go through this special senses chart and have you fill it along with me. So get out a pen and this chart, print out this chart, or you can do it digitally and we will go through it together. So let's talk about somatic sensation for the face. What's the sense organ? It's the skin, right? It's going to be the epidermis and the dermis, and the receptor cells inside the skin, there are many of them. You're learning them in a histology. They're proprioceptors, nociceptors, free nerve endings. There's lots of other mechanoreceptors. Right? The cranial nerve, well, for the face, the cranial nerve would be cranial nerve, try to guess, 5, right? The trigeminal. Now, for the sensation of the body, that's going to be spinal nerves throughout the body, but we're just talking about the face here, the touch of the skin of the face. The cranial nerve is going to be mesencephalic nucleus of 5, main sensory nucleus of the 5, spinal nucleus of 5. This is going to go, if it's the sense of touch for the body, it goes to VPL of the thalamus, but for sense of touch of the face, it goes to VPM. Then that will relay to this primary somatosensory cortex and the postcentral gyrus. That's in the parietal lobe. That's also Prodman area numbers 1, 2, and 3. What about the visual system? Try to do it on your own first and see what you know. The special sense organ, well, it's going to be the eye, and within the eye, the specialized tissue is the retina. There's photoreceptors, 3 types, rods, cones, and intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells, which are also called melanopsin ganglion cells. We'll talk more about these in the visual system lecture. That's cranial nerve 1. There's not a cranial nerve nucleus in the brainstem. There's the superior colliculus, which is a relay center, but for the primary processing, there's not a primary nucleus. The visual information does go to the lateral geniculate nucleus, and then on to the primary visual cortex, which is in the occipital lobe. That's Brodmann area 17. For the auditory system, we have the cochlea in the ear and the semicircular canals, the ampulla, the saccule, the utricle. Those, the receptor cell type is a hair cell. That's cranial nerve 8. And this is the cochlear nucleus for the auditory system and the vestibular nucleus for the vestibular system. The cochlear nucleus goes to the medial geniculate nucleus, and the vestibular nucleus actually goes to many different places, including the cerebellum. There's the auditory cortex, and then for the vestibular system, this should say cerebellum here. The gustatory system relies upon the tongue, and particularly the taste buds and the papilla. The receptors are called taste receptor cells. The cranial nerve is cranial nerve 7, 9, and 10. There's the solitary nucleus in the brainstem processes that information, and then it sends it on to the VPM of the thalamus to the primary gustatory cortex in the insula. For the olfactory system, we have our olfactory epithelium in the nose, which has the olfactory receptor cells, which convert the energy, that chemical energy, into an action potential. That travels through cranial nerve 1, the olfactory nerve. Olfactory doesn't have a cranial nerve nucleus in the brainstem, and it doesn't go to thalamus. It goes to the limbic system, and there's a primary olfactory cortex in the piriform cortex that's in the temporal lobe.